They all said I didn't deserve a penny. Not 1 cent. Not after the way I disappeared from the family. Not after I dropped out. Not after I cut them off. But that's the thing about people like them. They only remember the part where you left. They never talk about the 1,000 silent cuts that made you walk away. I showed up at the lawyer's office in my worn-out jeans, hair tied back, no makeup. My cousins were already there, sitting like royalty. My aunt gave me a tight smile, the kind people give a ghost they hoped stayed dead. No one said a word to me. Just the usual glances, judging, whispering. They thought I came crawling back for money. They didn't know the lawyer had called me himself. They didn't know I was the reason this whole meeting even had to happen. They didn't know I had the letter. But before I get to the will reading, the one that cracked my family in half, you need to understand what happened before Grandma died. Because they all made sure to rewrite the ending. But I remember the middle. My name is Sophie. I was the quiet one in the family. The one with the hand-me-down notebooks and ink-stained fingers. The one who sat in corners and watched people lie to each other over pot roast. My cousin Blake got a car at 16. I got a used backpack with a broken zipper. My cousin Hannah got flying lessons. I got grounded for asking why I wasn't allowed to take art classes. My mom used to say, "You're too sensitive, Sophie." But Grandma never did. Grandma June saw me. Really saw me. She was the kind of woman who smelled like cinnamon and had a laugh that filled the room. But what I remember most is how she never blinked when I told her the truth. I told her when my father said cruel things behind closed doors. I told her when I found out Blake was cheating on his cities with a family-paid tutor. I told her when Hannah, accidentally, spilled wine on my art portfolio the day before my scholarship interview. Grandma didn't gasp. She didn't defend them. She listened. And then she'd say something like, "The truth always waits, sweetheart. It always shows up, even when it's late." By the time I was 18, I had cut most of my family off. No Thanksgiving. No Christmas. Just Grandma and me. She mailed me letters every other week. Long ones. Sometimes with old photos, sometimes with poetry. Until one day she stopped. I didn't get a call. I found out she was in hospice care through a random Facebook post from my aunt. A blurry photo with the caption, "Cherishing our final moments." Final. I packed a bag, took the overnight bus, and walked into the hospice center the next morning. The nurse at the desk looked surprised when I said my name. "She's been asking for you," she whispered. I found Grandma in a quiet room with a window facing the garden. She was pale, smaller, but her eyes lit up when she saw me. "Sophie," she breathed. "You came." "I came the moment I knew," I said, holding her hand. She smiled, but her lips trembled. "They didn't want me to tell you." I wasn't surprised. Not anymore. They said you left. That you didn't care. But I knew better. We talked for hours. I told her about the cafe I worked at. The sketches I still did. The things I was too ashamed to write in letters. She cried. And then she made me promise something. "After I'm gone, they'll circle like vultures," she whispered. "But you wait for the lawyer. Mr. Bennett. He'll know." "Know what?" She smiled faintly. "That the real will is in the yellow envelope." I didn't understand then. But I nodded. She gave me a small velvet pouch. "Don't open this. Not until you're in the room. Not until they're all looking at you like you don't belong." Grandma died 2 days later. No one called me. No obituary was sent to me. They buried her without me. I only found out because the lawyer, Mr. Bennett, called me a week later. "Your grandmother left instructions," he said. "A private reading. One you're included in." That's how I ended up walking into that stiff, oak-paneled room with Hannah's perfume choking the air and Blake's Rolex catching the light. I sat in the back. I didn't look at anyone. Just clutched the velvet pouch in my pocket. Mr. Bennett cleared his throat. "Thank you all for coming. As executor of June Whitmore's estate, I have been instructed to read her will aloud in the presence of all her living descendants. You may have received digital copies, but this is the official, final version. As handwritten and signed by Mrs. Whitmore. Blake leaned back. Hannah smirked. My aunt folded her arms like she already knew what was coming. To my beloved grandson Blake, Mr. Bennet read. I leave my antique coin collection and the 1971 Mustang. You always loved to take but never learned how to give. Blake blinked. To my darling Hannah, he continued. I leave my collection of pearl jewelry and the trust fund your parents didn't know I closed 2 years ago. Hannah sat up. Wait, what? To my daughter-in-law, Denise, I leave my recipe books and nothing else. You always added poison where sweetness was needed. Mouths dropped open. And finally, Mr. Bennet said, looking directly at me, to my granddaughter Sophie, I leave the entirety of my savings, my home, my art, and the rights to all future proceeds from my estate. You saw me when no one else did. You stayed when others pretended. You listened. And so, I give you what they never deserved. The real ones. She can't be serious, Hannah snapped. There must be a mistake, Blake growled. She was losing her mind at the end. Mr. Bennet held up a yellow envelope. The same one Grandma told me about. This, he said, is her real, original will. Handwritten. Dated. Notarized. And it supersedes all previous versions. But there's more, Mr. Bennet added. She left behind a video message. Would you like to see it now, or shall I send it to each of you privately? I pulled the velvet pouch from my pocket. Inside was a small USB stick. Play it, I said quietly. Mr. Bennet plugged it into his laptop. The screen flickered. And there she was. Grandma. In her blue sweater. Sitting in the garden. If you're watching this, she said, then I'm gone. And if you're angry, it means you know exactly what you did. The room went silent. You told me Sophie didn't love me. That she vanished. But I watched every letter she sent me pile up in the garbage. I saw the envelopes you ripped open before I could read them. Denise shifted in her seat. You told me she didn't visit. But you changed the visitor logs. Blake's jaw clenched. You laughed when I forgot things. But I never forgot who showed up when no one else did. Grandma looked right at the camera. Sophie, this is yours. Not because you asked, but because you never needed to. The video ended. No one spoke for a full minute. Then Denise stood. This is a manipulation, she hissed. That woman was losing her mind. She was old. Confused. Mr. Bennet didn't flinch. This video was recorded 6 months before her death. Her mental state was evaluated at the time. You're welcome to challenge the will in court, but it won't go well. Blake stormed out first. Hannah followed, wiping angry tears with her overpriced sleeves. Denise tried to get in my face on the way out. Said something about me being a nobody who got lucky. But I didn't respond. I didn't need to. Because the house was mine now. I didn't rush to move in. I waited a week. Let the dust settle. Let their silence grow into resentment. Then I walked into Grandma's house with the keys still warm in my palm. The living room smelled like lavender and old paper. Nothing had been touched. Her sketchbooks were still there, stacked by the fireplace. The garden she once painted from memory was now mine to tend. And inside her desk drawer, I found one last envelope. It had my name in her handwriting. Inside was a letter. Dear Sophie, if you're reading this, it means they know. Means you stood your ground. I always knew you would. But I also know the storm won't stop here. They will come for you. Not because they care, but because they cannot bear to lose what they thought was already theirs. Let them rage. Let them burn. But do not let them back in. This home is yours now. Use it to create, to breathe, to begin again. And when you're ready, paint. Love, Grandma. I cried for the first time in years. The kind of tears that come not from pain, but from finally being seen. A month later, I held a small gallery showing inside Grandma's old sunroom. Just 6 pieces. All of them mine. I didn't invite my family. But Hannah showed up anyway. She came with a fake smile and tight arms. Told me how proud she was. Said Grandma would have loved the event. He nodded. Said nothing. She tried to hug me goodbye, but I stepped back. "This isn't for you," I said. It never was. I haven't heard from her since. Now, every morning I walk into that sunroom, light pouring over my canvas, and I hear Grandma's voice like a soft wind. The truth always waits. And now it lives in you. If you've ever been erased, replaced, or told you didn't belong, this story is yours too. And if it made you feel seen, even for a moment, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. Because someone out there still believes they don't deserve a penny. And maybe you're the one who proves them wrong.